So welcome to Challenge the Road. Here we have the verdict to our 4-car road racer series, and I'm here with Dean, who's been driving all 4, and we're just going to talk through the Scuderia first.
I thought it was amazing. My only concern was that I loved every single second when I was pushing it. And it feels like you need to push it to get the very best out of it. And then after that, I just felt like almost a bit out of place. You know, I really felt like this car came into its own when it was driven.
I think it's quite electric when it gets going.
It is, yeah.
And then obviously if you're not on that point, then you have to think, you want to get back to it, but you haven't got the room on the road probably as well.
No, absolutely.
So,
and for me, it was extremely evident that it is a race track-based Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they're aggressive, they're racy, they're punchy, they're skittish anyway.
Yeah.
But when you give it a little bit more horsepower, take 100 kilos of weight away, and then stick it on the road, not that it's too much, it was absolutely superb. The handling was great, the aggression, the noise, the sound, everything that you want from a Ferrari, it had in spades. But on the road, you just can't get it.
So you're in. What are your first feelings? Gear change.
Yeah, I'm feeling
like a missile. Like a gunshot.
I mean, I didn't put my foot anywhere near down, but for do you know what, mate? I'll be honest. It's much better this side of the car than it is that side. Like being in control of a machine like this is just like, you can appreciate what's under the bonnet, you can appreciate the feel of the car and everything when you're a passenger, but it's only when you get to actually sit behind the wheel and do that.
It feels weird. I've never been a passenger in this.
No, it's weird.
It feels nice though.
It feels fast. You know?
It feels airy. Like there's loads of room.
Well, for you maybe. There's always more room in the passenger seat. You know, when you're like, this is a.
So when we go up.
This is
you've got these ceramic brakes as well, which is really.
I mean, I think to appreciate what the 430 Scuderia is as opposed to the F430, you would have to drive them back to back. Yeah. You know, the extra little bit of brake horsepower, the 100 kilos weight difference, you know, the ceramic brakes, all of that stuff for a layman on the road is.
To switch it to racing, that's it, and then drop it down. And keep going, brake a bit more, come off a bit, brake it a bit more, go to second. One more, and now go. I'm doing it myself.
Hold on, wait now. I think my nipples are in my back. Yeah, man, that is super planted and so much more doable than what I've only ever really driven Ferraris on a track, so I've been wringing their necks, and I've always felt like they were quite skittish, quite race orientated, and obviously when you're pushing them around a 90-degree bend and trying to hit an apex and then accelerating out and trying to take the car to its absolute maximum capability, it can be a little bit hard to deal with. But that, just in a straight line, for someone that hasn't driven a car very quickly in a while, I was fishing all last week, it's so doable. And I'll say it one more time, maybe it's not the ultimate road racer because you're never going to get the most out of the performance in the car, because it's so much better than what a road can offer.
And I think always a manual shift gives you more involvement.
It's more connectivity, isn't it, with the car? Yeah. And I've always got a bit of a soft spot for a car where you actually got a gear lever and you're changing the gear like a golf swing. You know, it rewards you for a really good shot. But this is really very much impressed me, because I didn't honestly think it would be a car that you could drive on a daily basis and enjoy it on the roads that we've got in the UK.
And it's one of my absolute favourite cars. I said when I started my business, I had to sell my other one of these, which was the other Rosso Mugello one, and it took 11 years to find another one for sale. But you can see why I missed it, because you can go out and you just get that sense of, I say it's like the vibration through the seat, the whole car. It feels like it's a ball of energy. Yeah, it is. And you're there for a bit, and then you want to go. Then you feel want to go.
I want to go every single bend. You know, I want to know where I'm going. Actually, I don't know these roads, so it'd be really nice. It'd be really nice to know where I'm going, so I could actually give it.
Right here.
So, my verdict on the car would be that it's probably a little bit more of a track day car than a road, but it's still exceptional on the road.
Oh yeah.
So you'd never feel, you know, that you've made a bad choice. It's just that you'd really want to go to the track.
Yeah.
And that's how it makes you feel.
It makes you feel left wanting more, which I suppose is a good thing.
Yeah.
But not if you've only got an hour on a Sunday. You don't want to drive it back into the garage and go, oh, wish I could have done this, wish I could have done that.
One thing, is quite easy to drive as well.
Oh yeah, super.
So, you know, anyone could probably jump in this and drive it in auto, you'd be absolutely fine. And then you've got that other side of the car where you can switch to race and really get going.
But I was really surprised with how smooth it was at good speeds and at slow speeds, you know, really, really smooth. But I mean, the gear shifts were something special.
Yeah.
That kick in the back was electric is a really good word for it.
Kicks and goes again, doesn't it? It's just like a bang.
You wouldn't believe he was only doing 50. Just in case the old people were watching. Yeah, no, that's it's a really special machine, mate. And you know, not that you ever get in a Ferrari and think it's going to be anything less than extremely impressive, but
and it's that kick in the back, but it's not a bad kick in the back. The Lamborghini can be a bit lurchy. This is like bang.
It feels right.
Yeah.
It's there, it's precise. You know it's in gear, you know you're accelerating away. It's so quick as well. And I mean, when people turn around, this is the first, obviously, 430 Scuderia I've ever driven, and I've every single video I've watched, I've listened to people say, oh, Michael Schumacher did this, Michael Schumacher did that, but with a car that sounds like this, a bit rattly, you know, a little bit racy, I fully expected my vertebrae to be complete compression right from the start. And it is super smooth. Like, it really is super smooth.
And I think the other thing with this car is that the systems work brilliantly together. You've got the gearbox working so well with the suspension, the engine, the whole package, isn't it?
Yeah. And let's not, you know, it's a lovely looking thing as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, this red, I said to you, there's only 2 in right-hand drive in this red, and that dark red really makes a difference, I think, and it really goes well with the gold wheels. And it's a fantastic design.
It is.
With the Enzo lights, this engine cover, just to be able to see the engine. I know you was looking back through, wasn't you, seeing it change gear, you see everything with this car.
Yeah.
One of the main things to me is how the engine, the gearbox, the suspension all works together so well. There's not one weakness in this car.
It's really solid, man.
Yeah.
It's like really solid. You know, it's
confidence inspiring as well. I mean, you've only just jumped in it, I drive it a lot, but you've come in and you think, well, I can accelerate, I feel comfortable. The brakes,
you do.
Even there's no real edge on the top. With ceramics, sometimes you don't have a good feel, but the brake pedal feels good. It feels nice. Nice
I
pressure.
haven't hit the brake pedal many times, to be fair, Richard. Just let it run out. Just naturally
I
slow.
did say to let it run out. Yeah. I didn't realise I'd be the passenger.
Well,
for me, it feels great being in here, and I can see why when I take people out for a drive, it's pretty special. And
yeah, there's a few things in fairness that have taken me by surprise, and like you said, I love that. I love that word, compliance. In comparison to the steering is exquisite. You can feel absolutely everything that you want to, everything you don't want to. It's you know exactly where you are with the car. The Aston Martin steering is pretty similar. It's so precise, but it's quite heavy. It's firm, you know, and it almost seems like it works in that car because you've got the gear changes and you have to force in. But this is
just right. I know what you mean with the Aston as well. I think that's got great steering, a little bit heavier. This feels lighter, but not too light.
Yeah.
And I think that the Ferrari steering has gone so light now that it makes you feel twitchy, whereas this doesn't feel twitchy.
No,
So,
far from it.
Yeah.
Far from it. I mean, we've had some serious acceleration, albeit we haven't probably experienced the full capacity of the 3.5 second 0 to 62, but there's absolutely no danger there of being kicked out.
No. And the systems work with you. Like that race mode is giving you that little bit of slip, but not enough to make you feel uncomfortable.
And I'm driving just like I would do any other car right now.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can switch it down to wet mode there.
Down to wet.
Keep going. And then just put it in auto. It's in soft, it's in automatic. Anyone could drive this car.
Well, I'm not sure I'd let my missus behind the steering wheel, to be fair. I'll see how she parked my Caddy the other day.
So what did you think the styling of this car? I know you drove an F430 before. It's first time seeing Scuderia and the shape. What's your opinions? Because obviously it's got to have some wow factor as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, is there a Ferrari that's ever been made that doesn't have that wow factor? You know,
well, I think when they went to 355, there was some, after that shape, they were great. This one had a lot of mixed reviews. I think it's very purposeful, and it's not quite as beautiful as say the 360, but it's more racy.
But I think they've all got their own sort of individual look, class. You know, you go into a catwalk, model show, whatever, and they're all stunning, but they're all stunning in their own individual way.
Yeah.
And if you walked into a Ferrari showroom, some may take your eye a little bit more than others. Some may be more striking than others, but they're all like they were meant to look that way.
Yeah.
And I love that about Ferraris, you know, and they're all slightly individual, and it's.
I think this red is nice on this car,
the
just
coloration
because the colour has made it, I think.
Coloration makes it stand out.
Because the Ferrari
massively.
red now is very orangey, whereas this is very, very deep red, like almost burgundy really, on the colour.
Yeah.
And we're saying about being able to drive slowly, so just go right here. But it's nice. Is it giving you that feeling of, I know you said the racehorse thing, but going slowly, it still feels special?
I can happily drive this. Maybe not to the shops and back again all the time, but it will do
Stay
it.
to the right down here.
It will do it if I ask it to. But I wouldn't ask it to. You know, it's like my missus. My missus said to me, "Do you want to go out for a jog?" I would be like, "No, I'll go out for a run."
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Well, I would go out for a sprint about 100 metres long, and then I'll be back.
Yeah, well, I'll pull a hamstring. You know, we all know the stories. But yeah, it's a, it'll do everything you want it to, and you know full well, like this road is.
I'll put it into soft mode now on the.
Yeah, but it's dealing with this road.
Yeah,
there's nothing you're going to come up against.
Well, the other cars is going to be interesting because we take the same route, and you'll get more used to that route, and we'll see how the Lamborghini is, we'll see how the Bmw M3 is, the Aston, which is your new favourite, was the other.
It is, just because it makes you feel special whether you're doing 20 or 120.
Well, that's that road racer thing.
But that's not a road racer thing though, is it? You know, that's just a out and out class.
Well, it's got to be good on the road all the time and be able to race.
Well,
and get up on it. And I know the Aston can, and I know this can, but I do know what you mean on the lower speeds. I think that because you've got that manual gear change.
This can race. I feel like I'm a little bit of a pilot right now. I feel like when I get this above 5,000 revs,
keep going.
Then I'm driving the car.
Yeah.
You know, at the moment I feel a little bit like piloting.
Yeah.
Useless.
Well, when you come up
just
here,
a piece of meat sat in the driver's seat. I don't know. It seems very, very weird that it's not my pick.
Yeah.
And even in my mind, I'm going, it's got to be, surely, because
Yeah.
if you picked a route on the roads,
Yeah.
from here all the way back to here, a couple of miles, however long you want to make it, this, in my mind, of all 4 cars that we've tried today, is by far the quickest.
Yeah, it should be the winner.
Yeah, it should be.
Should be, yeah. But it's not at the moment.
Not for me, it's not, no.
No. Well, let's move on to the M3 from here and do our verdict on that one. So, road racer verdict. We've got the BMW M3 now that we've both driven, and we're just going to go through what our thoughts are on this car. So, Dean, what did you think?
It was never going to fail in my eyes, and certainly not my review, because I look at the E46 M3 through rose-tinted glasses. Friends of mine had them. I've driven them many times before. They've never let me down. I've always got a big smile on my face when I'm behind the wheel, when I see one go past. And I genuinely believe, for a car that is designed to go on the road, it is everything you want in a car.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that you've got 4 to 5 seats.
Yep.
You've got a boot. You've got, you know, a lovely 6-cylinder engine. A nice amount of power.
Yeah.
Oh, the chassis is brilliant.
Absolutely.
Because you can drive this any time of year.
Yes.
You know, it's a safe car.
Yeah.
You know, you haven't got too much power. So, to me, it's one of my all-time favourite cars.
It feels, when you get out of it, it feels like there are no roads in the UK long enough to really get it going. And
yeah.
So right, Dean, you're in.
Yep. Oh, that clutch pedal was quite firm, isn't it? Yeah. But then, to be fair, in comparison to not using one at all, I feel like I need to sit a bit closer actually as well for the first time in a long time.
It's electric.
There we go.
You got it?
Yeah, there you go.
I haven't actually been a passenger in this car.
Have you not?
No. So
hold on to your bootstraps.
actually, I haven't been a passenger in any of them. Oh no, the Lamborghini.
Oh, actually,
first impression.
No, nice. The first time I put my foot on that clutch, it was a little bit firm, to be fair. But actually, when you get it going, there's a lovely feel to it.
So you said your friends had these cars?
Yeah, I've driven many an M3. It's always been a firm favourite of mine, and even nowadays when you got the X drive on them as well, I mean, different gravy. It sort of incorporates everything you like in the M3, as well as the, just off the spot performance of like the RS6 or the RS5 or whatever. But yeah, it's always been, if I won the lottery, probably the first car I would buy would be an M3, because I just feel like you said earlier on, jumping into a car and just literally having a great drive. It pulls lovely, sounds amazing.
You've got that manual gear change.
There's nothing an M3 doesn't do. No. It does everything super-pace. If you want to take the traction control off and go a little bit sideways, in comparison to an awful lot of cars in this sort of league, it's doable, it's playable. They're super sexy, they're comfortable,
So they had the E46 and they had the E90, which I wasn't that keen on the looks. But the newer M3 does look very nice, but I don't think it's got the sound with the turbos.
No, a lot of cars nowadays, a lot of modern cars have had, they don't sound like the old school cars do, and this has just got, it sounds an absolute dream.
I can see you there, just like you want to change.
I'm just changing. You know what? I'm changing for the sake of changing, and that is the great thing about an old school gearbox like this, a manual gearbox, where you can literally drop down and you don't even have to go fast. Just the fact that I've dropped down, I haven't accelerated, means that I'm just doing something. I'm engaged with the car. I'm getting so much more from this at these speeds than I did from the 430 Scuderia. And at top end, if you was looking at performance and genuinely racing it around the streets, of course this can't compare. But I'm already having a bit more fun in a car that costs 13 grand as opposed to a car that costs 200k. Yeah. Which my wife will love me saying.
But I think that the M3 for me has become, especially this version, the 46 is an iconic car.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I think I really, really wanted one when they come out. I was actually into Subarus a lot before then.
Yeah.
It's P1s, and then the M3 come out, and I got in the M3 and thought, oh, this is fantastic. I don't know, I think the seats on this are great. One of the other things, the interior's great on it. It wasn't big money back then. They were actually going for over, I think they're about 38.5k, which is very good value. And I always liked silver, especially like the titanium silver, looked really smart. And they had like the carbon black and the blue ones. I didn't overly like the convertibles as much, but I'm a bit like that anyway with the cars.
Me too, absolutely. But then my head pokes out the top. Yeah. I end up getting loads of flies across my 5 head. But instantly you can tell it's a bit more. It's a bit floaty around the corners. It's nowhere near as planted as the Ferrari, and you would never expect it. You know, it's 4 times cheaper. Yeah. But does it feel worse for it? Of course it doesn't. You know, it's a completely different drive. But I genuinely feel like I was super impressed with the speed, aggressiveness, and actually the handleability of the Ferrari. I didn't expect that. I was really impressed with that. It was everything and more. But I know what I expect from an M3. Yeah. I've driven them before, and I was still looking forward to getting in this today, you know, because
I feel like I'm driving with you. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Because you got the manual, you got the. Whereas in the other cars, you do feel like a passenger. With this, you feel like you're engaged. Because I can see
to that, man.
Well, it's got that Schnitzer exhaust.
Yeah.
Which sounds lovely, doesn't it?
It's just the pleasure of dropping down the gear.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, you know, flipping your left finger
and changing gear how you want to change and at the speed you want to do. You can do it quickly, you can do it slowly. So the other thing is you could just go for a lovely long journey to a hotel. You have all the stuff in the back.
Do you know where I would go?
3 hours would be fine.
I'd go a little bit longer than that, because if I did treat myself, maybe at the end of this year, I would jump in this, I would get on the train, I would drive it over to the Nürburgring, which I've never driven before, which is in the top 3 of my bucket list, and I would give it a hiding round there.
Right.
I would.
Yeah.
Because.
And you drive it home.
And I would drive it home. Absolutely. You know, it's.
And I think you'd enjoy it more. Again, I know we're going to keep coming back to manual and paddle shifts, but I just feel like with a manual, you really absolutely feel like you're driving. And I know we're going to miss that in the future. And for youngsters coming through, they're not going to have that involvement of heel and toe and learning to drive.
The one time a manual gearbox is an absolute nightmare is when you're in traffic. Yeah. And that's when I think, oh God, you know. But other than that, and let's face it, no one ever enjoys traffic. So whatever car you was in, you would not want to be in that situation. Any other time, nothing comes close, in my mind. If I was on track, there's no way on earth I would be anywhere near as effective unless I had, you know, the Ferrari gearbox. I mean, it's as good as it comes. The best performance you could possibly get. But it's not. Yeah, this is a bit more. It's a bit more for so much less.
I think that the value of the performance is amazing in this. Yeah. I mean, if you looked at a Golf R, it might be set 35,000. You're now, you know, 10 to 17k for this. I see you enjoyed it.
I just love it, man. I love it. You know, it's.
And this is such a cult car, and I think now so many people love this car because of the shape, because of the age. Now there's not as many of them now, and it is difficult to find good ones. Yeah. It is hard to do that. But as a road racer, maybe it's a bit more road than racer, because I think the Ferrari takes them cars, take it to another level in the adrenaline.
Yes.
I wouldn't say, you know, coming out the Ferrari, I feel that level of adrenaline. I'm not feeling that as much in this. No. I feel like I'm getting a very nice drive, nice experience. I'm happy. The Ferrari can be, I wouldn't say scary, but it gives you a little bit more adrenaline.
But I felt exactly the same in the passenger seat. So in the passenger seat of the Ferrari, it was much more exhilarating, because I couldn't tell when you was going to plant your right foot, but when you did, it was, whoa, Christ, hold on, you know. And when I was driving it, it was very similar, you know, but for short periods of time. for really short periods of
Well,
time.
there's a road up here.
I'm just loving going from second to third,
Yeah.
driving 30 mile an hour and enjoying myself,
Yeah.
you know. And whenever I want, I know that this is going to go 0 to 60 as quick as I'm ever going to need it to. Okay, it's limited to 155, which is more than enough when we're talking about a road racer. Yet I can unleash that at will whenever I want.
Yeah.
And I've still got that beautiful deep burble in the background, reminding me that I'm all right. I'm in a road car, but I'm in an M3.
Yeah.
And it's there when I need it and there when I want it. And you never forget that in the Ferrari.
No.
You know, because all you want to do is push it.
Yeah, you want to go, but you're not really pushing it sort of in the bends with the Ferrari because you're going too quick. Whereas with this, you could go second gear, ride it out really smoothly through the gear, and just go nicely round the bends. You know, be really, really comfortable. So this is where this car excels: fast road driving. I think smooth corners,
Beautiful.
keeping momentum, and just flowing with the road.
Yeah.
And that is one of the big things. I think it flows this car.
You can feel the weight behind it. You know, it just wants to roll down this hill. You can easily drop it and give it some if you want. And you've got so much power, so much speed, more so than, again, you're ever going to need. But it delivers it in a really nice, effective, smooth way. The Ferrari sort of ripped your head off. And that's great. It's amazing. It's a really cool feeling. Do you want that every single time? I suppose if you're going out for a couple of hours in the afternoon on a Sunday and the roads are empty, of course you do. But yeah, there is just something special about everything about this car. Obviously, growing up and wanting one, mates having one when I couldn't really get one. The performance, obviously, the history. M3s have always had something about them, haven't they? You know, it's just it never lets you down. It never lets you down.
And I think that, like, with the 6-cylinder engine and it being naturally aspirated again, you can, as you say, just rev that engine out up to that 8,000 in second gear and be very happy. It's one of my favourite all-time cars. And
I feel $1 million driving it. You know, I feel $1 million driving it. I paid more for my Caddy, and this makes me feel like, you know, I'm driving something real special.
And it looks lovely. Outside with that Schnitzer body kit, it looks just lovely. It doesn't look £13,000. If you put a personal plate on it.
Mate, I was really surprised because I'm thinking I'd have given 13.5 for it.
You had your checkbook out.
Yeah,
you had checkbooks in.
My old one, but dust came out of there.
I've always had a soft spot for M3s. The only downside with this is that it's an extremely elite company.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it didn't quite feel raw enough. But this isn't the ultimate edition of an E46. You've obviously got the CSL, but I do feel it's a genuine road racer car, and anyone who bought an M3 would have a fantastic time.
Yeah,
and drive it all the time.
It's probably not pulling the right amount. It's probably not pulling as hard as it did a few years ago as well.
Well, you're almost 20 years old, isn't it? So.
But I've got to say, for actual driving experience, because it's got the manual gearbox as well.
Yeah.
The interaction between driver and car it's super, whether you're going around the corner at 30 mile an hour or 90 mile an hour. It's irrelevant because you can just drop down when you want and you get so much more joy out of a car, in my mind, in a manual gearbox.
This would be the first car I'd take out in the evening because it's so easy. So I'd just go in, turn it on. It's not hugely loud. You can just go out, nice drive, enjoy it, bring it back, no problem.
Yeah, and for value for money, that's a lot of car.
Well, we said you can't beat it.
No.
No, there's no other car at £13,000 to £15,000 that'll beat this.
No.
There isn't. I can't see it. Not for all-round car. And I remember when I sold mine, I always went back to them just because I realised how good they were.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that they make cars and they don't improve them that much because there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
And the steering on this feels fantastic as well. So, I mean, for someone getting into these type of cars as a road racer, I'd say you can tune them a little bit as well. You know, this has got a sports exhaust, you could do the air filter.
Yeah.
But you could play around with this car quite a bit with suspension and that. And also, you could go on track days very easily, like you said about driving to the Nuremberg, driving it round and driving it home.
You could do this in a blink of an eye. I mean, last year I drove to Croatia just on a whim to go fishing.
Yeah.
If I owned this car, I would wake up one Friday morning and think, right, what am I doing tomorrow? I'm going to Germany. And you just literally just book your car on the truck. You could easily do that in this vehicle. You could go wherever you want.
And it'd be reliable.
Yes.
You wouldn't worry. That engine is pretty bulletproof.
Yeah.
So
And it still do all right around the ring as well.
so where does it? Is it your favourite or?
No, it's not.
today.
But it was close.
Yeah, okay.
Because I love driving them. I have
Okay.
got a soft spot for M3s, and it pains me to say it's not my pick of the four.
Yeah.
But you know, look,
It's
I mean,
close, isn't it? They're all close. They're all so good.
do you know what the funny thing is? We drove 4 different cars, and there was 4 completely different emotions and 4 completely different pairs of drivers in each car.
Yeah.
Because in the Ferrari, we was like, oh my God, yeah, driving. In this, we was just chatting and enjoying, and you know, you put your foot down when you want. It's lovely and safe and smooth. In the Gt8, we were just giggling because it makes you feel like a king. And then we were very, very serious in the Lamborghini.
Because we had to be.
Because you have to
it's
be,
serious.
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, this is out of the 4 cars, this is not my pick.
Okay.
It's not to say I didn't enjoy myself immensely, because I did.
So still a fantastic car, the M3. I still love it to bits. But we're going to move on now to the Murcielago. So we're now onto the Lamborghini Murcielago Sv. Me and Dean have both been out in this car. I know I got a bit scared. You got a bit scared.
I was a bit choked up at one point, yeah.
So what's your verdict on this one?
I've been wanting to drive one of these for probably 15 years or more. And the old saying is you never want to meet your hero. And the anticipation of getting into a Lamborghini Murcielago Sv, like the expectations have built and built and built.
Yeah.
And so today I was really nervous because I thought to myself, you know, I've watched loads of YouTubers and loads of reviews, and they've been saying it's hard and it's harsh and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, I'm 6'5". The seats were quite uncomfortable. I banged my head on the roof as a passenger and as a driver. Every time I indicated left, my knee kicked it back up, so no one knew where I was going.
Yeah.
But it was superb. It is so aggressive. The noise is phenomenal, slightly sickening.
Yeah.
The V12 engine just whines and goes, and I was really taken aback by it. I've got to be honest. Yeah, because I expected it to be special, and it blew my expectations out of the water by a million
drove
miles.
the special cars before this as well, and it was still super special.
Yeah, and
which
do you know another thing? In black and white, this is not much quicker, 0 to 100k, than the Scuderia.
Yeah.
It feels so much more aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, when we got into this, all the other cars we got in and we was having a chat and we was talking about where we were going and here, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that. There was a really serious face on both of us for the vast majority of this.
Well, we didn't talk, did we?
No,
For a little bit.
It was only when it was only when we'd really done the review and had a good drive of it, and we was just cruising up the hill to come back that we actually started to smile and relax. And I got out the car and I genuinely went like this to try and shake the adrenaline and nerves out of my arms. Not that it was a difficult drive, but it was it's one of those cars, and probably the only car I've ever driven where I thought it could go wrong at any point, and if it goes wrong, it could go wrong really badly.
Yeah.
And
but that gives you that buzz. So it's like a knife edge.
it's gonna sound weird. That is what drew me to it.
Yeah.
Like it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I totally get why you've got it.
Yeah.
Like it's I love the colour, I love the look. It's always been a poster, you know, the Murcielago, the Aventador, you know, they are the poster hypercars.
You can't just get in this and just drive it quickly. You've got to learn it. You've got to, you know, get the feeling that you can drive it well.
Yeah.
And you know, if you went in this and went quickly, it's going to go wrong quickly.
Oh, straight into the trees. And I love the fact it's not a case of just plant your right foot and flick your right fingers, you know. The upshifts, if you lift off slightly, it makes everything slightly more smooth, but then gives you a bit more kick in the back, you know. I love the fact that it's a degree more difficult to drive than the Scuderia.
Yeah.
and that really appeals to me.
And I think that's what gives you the sort of ultimate buzz, or the fizz, as you know, James May would say in Top Gear. That's what it feels like, isn't it? It gives you that real sort of buzz of being in an amazing V12 car that's got all this power, and when you're changing gear you get that kick in the back, but also when you lift off at say 5,000 revs you get that feeling for your stomach.
Yeah.
And the noise and the howl of that
every
engine.
single time you change down a gear, he goes woo, and you just want to keep changing down. And so for me, very similar to the Scuderia, it comes alive at high speeds.
Yeah.
Right. It's designed for that.
Yeah.
And it's got a top speed of 212 mile an hour. You know, downhill with a wind behind you, maybe even more. But the fact that it is so aggressive and it commands so much respect. And even at low speeds, the downshifts just seem so aggressive. I love that.
And I think it looks fantastic as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think did you feel it was big on the road?
Initially, yeah, but not to drive.
Yeah.
Like to look at now.
I've got used to it now. I don't feel like it's huge. Like when I had the Aventador, it felt too big.
When I first saw it amongst the other cars that we was reviewing today, I thought to myself, that's a boat. That's massive. And actually driving it, it didn't feel anywhere near as big. It's like you need that amount of material underneath you to be able to control that power.
I don't think it feels hugely heavy.
No, absolutely not.
No, you know, the Aston may be just as heavy on the steering.
Savage, I would use. A word savage, I would use, yeah. I mean, this is the only car we've driven today where, as a passenger, I felt a little bit ill. Yeah. Not because of car sickness or anything like that, but because I was very much aware that I wasn't in control, and I'm not a brilliant passenger. You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm much better behind the wheel because I know what I'm doing. But yeah, it made me nervous, and it gave me sort of almost shakes through my limbs, and that's quite rare.
So, Dean, first impression?
I'm a bit nervous, I'll be honest with you. I mean,
see the brakes.
Oh yeah, the brakes. Yeah, really grabbing. Yes.
Just that little lift on the accelerator when you change up. That's a little lift again. This feels quick.
That's yeah, you got to get used to that. It's not that I can't handle it. It's
that
just
felt quick for me. I was thinking,
did it really?
When you change gear, it was an instant push.
You like the change, you know, when you pick that up quite quick, eh?
Yeah.
Mate, that is an absolute animal. Could do a left hitch.
Yeah.
I can't hear. In my head.
You can stay in seconds.
Oh well.
That's all right. And then just keep it nice and smooth, but not full throttle, just smooth movements. That's it. Let it rev. Let it rev out. Crikey, that hell from the engine.
That's amazing. That's the best car I've driven in my life.
When you put off the accelerator, it goes boom, 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 doesn't it?
That is.
Serious.
Yeah, but it's worse in your seat than it is mine. You're crapping yourself, aren't you? Because I was.
No, I'm fine. Oh, I love feeling that push in the back when it goes.
Mate, honestly, it's terrible when you're sitting in that seat. I felt sick. Now I'm just, I'm elated. Like I
said, I think it's one of the greatest cars.
Honestly, kind of emotional.
Because it's so raw, and it's just like a pent-up aggression in the car.
I don't even feel like I'm sitting straight. I feel like I'm pointing that way.
You're not sitting straight.
No,
because when they designed it, they forgot to put about the driver's going to sit, so you're sitting that way. But it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
It's the best design.
And my head keeps smacking against the roof. Yeah. My hips kind of don't fit in the that downshift. Oh, just to rub it in everywhere. But that's the most special car I've ever driven.
Right, okay. That's the one.
Oh, the Gt8 is phenomenal, right? I love the manual gearbox and the noise and stuff, but Richard.
So let's put it in course then just stay in first. Stay in first. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, second.
long enough in the UK that's going to get. That's.
So you see why I like taking this out then? Because it just gives you that rush that you just.
Now this is my issue now, because if we're going to compare all 4 cars, people are going to watch this and go, of course you're going to choose the one that costs 350k.
Yeah.
But for what was the M3, 30k? 13k, that's a lot of motor. It gives you so much joy. Do you know what, I'm kind of a little bit, it's difficult to talk because you're concentrating even at low speed.
Yeah, that's the thing, it's got you all the time.
It never lets.
No, you can't.
The downshift at 20 mile an hour, look at that.
There's no let off. The brakes, you have to be precise.
Yeah.
The accelerator, you have to be, so you have to be better. That's what I like. You've got to get better at it all the time. And it's never the same.
This is, I am so glad it is what it is.
You said about the Dubai video, didn't you?
Yeah.
To me earlier on. And now to be in that car.
Oh, I'd love to take this on the strip. I'd love to take this on the strip.
So the Murcielago, I think, is one of the prettiest Lamborghinis made, and the design. And I know with the SV, it's got the body kit, but I do think it works well,
doesn't it?
Yeah. And as I say, it was designed without having a driver, so that's why you're all off centre.
This is so good round the corners, man. This is amazing round the corners. Oh, mate. Yeah, there's not.
I had the Aventador, and I didn't like it that much because the steering was electric and it moved. When you were driving, it would go heavy and then light, and then to go back to Murcielago, and then it feels like it's a better car.
It's got a very similar sort of feel to the steering like the Gt8. It's firm, and every single millimetre that you move this steering wheel, the car responds perfectly. Like there's no, I know exactly where I am with it. I'm completely aware that at any second I could die, which is probably why I'm absolutely buzzing. But
it does feel like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I could knock that lady right off her bike right now, just through the sheer sound and acceleration of it. Bless you, I won't if you're watching this. But this is every bit a hypercar like this should be. The V12 sounds amazing. You know, I actually feel like when we put our foot down, this is, I don't know what it's like on decibels or anything like that, but this does for me feel like the loudest car that we've been in.
Because the engine's right there, I think outside is.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it wobbling when I put my foot down.
You go.
And it's really nice to drive. You know, unlike what I felt like the Ferrari was just wanted to go all the time, and like I felt like I had to drive it fast to get the best of it. Like I'm enjoying driving this quite slow because I need a bit of a break in between those mad moments. Yeah, because otherwise I think I'm just going to explode.
That's how it feels.
You can't get enough of this, but you have to know when to.
When you get out of this, you have to take a bit of a moment just to sort of get yourself together.
Yeah,
I think this isn't real world. This is, you know.
I've actually got like a shaking sensation going through my body right now.
So back it off here. Just brake, keep braking. That's all, then just go. Then we're just run through and then go.
This is unbelievable.
And that feel.
The dial change. I just want to keep dropping the gears.
I know.
It's such a shame. It is such a shame that you can drive this on the road because you just want to take it to an airfield and unleash all hell.
I know.
Like I don't believe in like I like a Marvel movie. So you know we see all these movies with like black holes that transform you to different like galaxies. Like if I drove this to its complete max power, I feel like I would transform myself to a completely different warped world or something. Honestly, it's like there's nothing, when you put your toe down in this, there is absolutely nothing else you think about on the planet.
No, well, you can't.
You can't.
You're so serious. When we first got in, we didn't talk, did we?
No.
So I said, when are we starting the video? Because we haven't said anything, because this is so serious. And when I first accelerated, you said your stomach, the feeling, you get it. And when you...
But what did you feel like just then? Like, because in the passenger seat, when you know you're in quite a dangerous motor and you're not in control, you know we're both reasonably comfortable behind the wheel, so there shouldn't be any issues. But I always feel like a bit twitchier there than I do here.
It's a bit like when you're watching something in fast forward. You know, with the
that's exactly
the
how I
trees.
felt.
The trees are going whoa when you're in this game.
Yeah, because you know,
and you sort of go further back, but there's nowhere to go.
Your peripheral vision kicks in when you're in that seat, but here you just like tunnel vision.
I'm seeing everything go.
It's like too quick, isn't it, mate? Yeah. Now we're just chilling. Now we're just poodling back to the garage. Now I'm having a laugh and a joke, but any vehicle that you get in and you have to concentrate that much that it's hard to talk has my undivided attention, and I feel like
you've got to respect this car. That's the big thing. You've got to respect it because it's got that huge V12.
You got to love it, man.
Is this your winner?
No. How stupid is that? The fastest one
It's
that we
gotta be
reviewed is the
close.
Scuderia. And this is by far, like the fastest one around the roads is the Scuderia.
Yeah.
The fastest one in the straight line, and the one that gave me the biggest buzz was the Lamborghini, but still...
You're still getting drawn to the Aston, aren't you?
I tell you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go to
when
the
we
Aston.
look at it, I'll tell you why.
Aston. Okay,
All
let's
right.
go to the Aston now.
Right, Dean. Here we go again. Gt8. What do you think? Noisy.
So much aggression, noise, power. I know which one's my favourite already. Voice is actually around.
I can't even talk.
I feel a little bit sick, and not through fear or anything like that, just through smiling quite so much and my cheeks ache, and the noise is... I remember years ago, I'm an Essex boy, I had two 10-inch bandpass subs in the back of my Escort GTI, and the bass was so loud that it made you feel sick, and actually it was so loud at one point that my number plate fell off, and an old lady knocked on my window when I was at the lights, and she went, "I think this is yours," and I wound my window down and she gave it to me, and I don't know what sort of weird and wonderful music I was listening to, but it was just the noise of that bass was what I wanted at the time. The noise of this car is absolutely ridiculous, but it makes you feel alive. You don't have to go more than 40 miles an hour. As soon as you get it above 4,000 revs, it screams and shouts and burbles and pops and bangs and growls at you, and it is just addictive.
Well, I feel like I'm sitting right in the middle of this car, and I'm right on top of everything. So I'm on top of that steering, but I've got this short back, so I'm on top of the rear wheels as well, if that makes sense. And I feel like the steering, I feel like when I go around corners, instead of steering normally like this, I actually change my hand grip and actually push it into the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit heavier, and you feel like you've got to grab hold of this car.
It's firm.
Yeah. So you've got to grab it by the scruff of the neck and go.
Yeah, but the thing is, every single movement on that steering wheel is, I can feel it translated into the car so precisely, sitting in the passenger seat.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been in the power. I'm going to be in a minute.
Well, you will be, and for a Grand Tourer, boy, does this feel like a sports car.
I think
Like-
it's got so much feel-good factor as well. Like looking at that arch on the back and the spoiler.
Everywhere you look, it reminds you that you're in something
I do
quite
love
special.
Aston Martin, but special ones.
Well, I do now.
I know, yeah.
I do now.
When you said that the first time, I'm thinking, oh my god, because the Lancia obviously wasn't running, and I said I've got a backup car, and you said I don't like Aston Martin.
No, I
But
didn't
you
say
did,
I
well,
didn't
you
like.
said-
What I said was, in the category that they sit in, I would always go for, I don't know, a Turbo S, a 458 Scuderia. There's something that's a bit more punchy, sporty, aggressive, better racy looking, you know. But when you drove up in this and I saw it, and then I heard it, and then I drove it, I've never driven a car that made me feel so special. And I didn't even drive it like fast.
So let's go, Dean. Don't stall it.
I'm not going to stall it, mate. I'm just going to enjoy it first. You know, the funny thing is, I just want to sit here. I don't even need to drive it. Yeah.
It feels that special, doesn't it?
I thought so highly of it the first time I drove it that I was worried that possibly this time round I would be disappointed, or maybe that I overdid it in my own mind.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, you didn't know the car was going to be there, did you?
No, I didn't know the car was
thing. So. I feel like I'm in like a V8 Le Mans racing car.
You kind of are.
I know, yeah. Because of the noise. And
It's-
just how it feels so solid.
Every single millimetre on that steering wheel is transmitted straight through the whole car. It feels like we're literally just pivoting every single. I can't describe it. The steering's firm. The gear changes are a little bit heavy, maybe, but I kind of like that because
You want to feel involved, don't you?
Yeah.
That's it.
it's sort of chunky. Chunky is a good
Yeah.
word. Yeah, because I think heavy is a criticism. It's not a criticism because it feels good, it feels right, it matches the whole car.
So suspension good again. Engine's terrific. We know it's not hugely powerful compared to the competition.
It's not.
But you're using all of them.
Yes, and
that's
for
the key.
a road racer, for a car that you can jump in, go out for an hour and a half, stick 30 quid in the tank. Might not do an hour and a half, to be fair, 30 quid. It's going back a few years, but use the car and get a lot from it. I feel like this is, you know, it's. I mean, what are we doing? We're doing
50 mile an hour.
Yeah, and we're just on 3,500 revs. It's
The noise is making it feel quicker though.
super quick.
So yeah, I know, it's making it feel, if it's the same 0 to 60 as the M3, this feels like it's going quicker, but it must just be the noise.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Yeah, 100% it's the noise. Yeah.
You just feel like you're in a racing car. That's how it feels.
It's,
And the brakes feel great, don't they? There's no hesitancy. It feels like you need to press them, which is nice. That's
Yeah.
what you want from a race car. You feel like you have to put that pressure on.
But the other thing is, I kind of feel like, as much as it's easy to drive, I feel like I'm working it with the firm suspension that is so responsive. I feel like I'm driving the car all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what really stood out for the M3, which nowadays isn't powerful, or that particular M3, and it certainly isn't expensive. But what I got from that car was so much more than what it was worth.
Yeah.
And this is just taking it to a whole new level. This is the up-to-date modern version of what that experience was like. I am totally engaged.
It's the whole thing.
Oh, I'm looking in the rearview mirror
yeah.
at everything that's disappearing behind me, and all I'm looking at is that massive carbon spoiler and those huge arches, and it enables me to see what I'm driving from the inside out almost.
It makes it feel special. Like the car feels special. Inside the car, you just feel like you're in a real special car. It would be interesting to get you in a standard Aston Martin as well at some point, just to see, but then it might ruin it because this is just obviously such a limited edition car, this one. But then you drive this one, didn't
You know, I don't know. It'd be like dumping Cindy Crawford for like Wayne Etta. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
For the last car of the day, the Aston Martin Gt8, and get Dean's verdict on this one and his verdict on all the cars. So talk us through the Gt8. Was it as good as last time?
Yeah, I think it's sublime. I really do. The sound of the car is, I would say, second to none. Although I have drove the Lamborghini now, and that really took my breath away. But I love the depth and the acoustics of this car. I love the manual gearbox. It's absolutely sublime. I really feel like I'm engaged from the first all the way up to the 6th gear. It's, as a driver's car, as a road racer, as something that I would take out on a weekend. I would get out the Scuderia, I would get out the M3, not so much M3, but I would certainly get out the Lamborghini, and I would be like, right, that's enough, I need to go and chill out.
Yeah.
I could keep driving this until the sun went down. It is absolutely superb. I think speed-wise in black and white, it doesn't compare against the Ferrari or the Lamborghini.
It doesn't need to.
It doesn't need to.
Because it's got the manual gearbox.
And the fact is, because the manual gearbox takes a lot longer from one gear to another,
Yeah.
between those gears, the pull on this thing is absolutely phenomenal. And
the noise is fantastic. I mean, we were just giggling, weren't we, when we were out there? We were going, wow.
There is a
car,
feel factor
you know,
about cars, and you know, the fact is, there's lots of people that may choose a Scuderia. There's other people that would choose the M3. There's other people that choose the Lamborghini. But for me, the way this makes me feel, the way I like to drive, a little bit old school with a manual gearbox, a proper, you know, a proper car. You know, I don't like to say it, but it's a
lot of feel good when you're in it as well, with the interior looking, like we said about looking through the wing mirrors at these huge arches. The race derived body, it's got a lot going for it, and it feels good inside. You feel like, right, I'm in a very special car.
It's a stunning automobile, and the thing is, it feels very racy as well.
Yeah, well, I said it feels like a race car. I mean, when I was in the passenger seat and you accelerated, it felt like a V8 muscle car. The noise, I was like, whoa, it's like being at Le Mans.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, how they got away with that exhaust, I don't know, 107 decibels.
It's just, it's the one that I would go back to, and I would happily drive, slow or fast, Monday to Sunday, no brake, no nothing. It's the one I'd go to, and it's my favourite out of all four.
So this is the winner for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's weird, isn't it? Because that's the fastest.
Yeah.
That's the fastest on the road.
Yeah.
This is probably the noisiest, albeit none of them are quiet, but
all round, you think that's the best?
All round, it just gives me everything that I've ever looked for in a car.
Yeah, a very good choice.
What about you?
I think I'd go Murcielago.
Would you?
Yeah.
So how comes none of us have picked the Scuderia? Why would you pick the Murcielago over the Scuderia? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, if I love the M3, then I've surely got to pick the Gt8, because it's a much newer, crisper, powerful version of the M3. And so I'm thinking, the Scuderia and the Ferrari are almost in the same sort of pocket.
I think it is difficult because they're all very good and they're all very different. I think when you're looking at a road racer, you sort of think the Ferrari should win, but I think the adrenaline and the feeling that Murcielago gives you, you can't replicate.
The nausea, you mean?
Feeling it. Yeah, but when you go out and you can just go for, like we said, if you were just going out for one drive, or your last drive, I'd probably go Murcielago. If I was going out all the time, I'd have the M3. It's a real difficult choice. But if you're saying now you're choosing this one, then I'm going to choose that one. And then you can follow me back to the storage.
Do you know what?
And then you can see the Murcielago.
Who's right and who's wrong? Don't matter, does it?
No.
Don't matter?
No. But I think this is an awesome manual car and is a real one-off, and I love the colour and everything as well on this, but then I love the orange on the Murcielago, and there's no losers today. It's just a case of which one you pick and what sort of mood you're in. Like with this one, I could go out, I went out the other day and just went driving for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that in the Murcielago. I'm going to go for 20 minutes and go, still alive, I'll come home. Whereas this, I feel comfortable all the time and can just drive and drive. So
they're totally different emotions,
yeah,
aren't they? It's totally different, and it's weird because it's so superficial, but we love it.
Yeah. So let's get these back to the storage. Dean, you're going to follow me?
Yeah, why not? Well, I certainly ain't going to overtake you in that, am I?
No. Okay, thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you on the next show.
it.